Hey guys, how's it going? This is Khan, Mr. So Real, and welcome to yet again another episode of Let's Talk. So, in this series, basically, I'm going to state some ideas that I have for games. It could be any kind of game that I am playing. And the last Let's Talk, we talked about the Division and we talked about rogues in the open world, and it seemed that quite a few of you responded positively and you actually liked the idea, and quite a few people shared their ideas on some things that they would like to see. And I was really impressed that a lot of people were feeling the idea of having it, and that they thought it was a really good idea. So thank you all very much for the support on that, and for all of the likes and stuff and all of the comments. It was fun listening and talking to you guys and responding. So for anyone else, if you have any other comments or suggestions and stuff, please just put them in the comments. I will read all of them and I will try my best to answer all of them, because that's just what I do on the channel. So yeah, just if you like what you hear and you really want to give it some support, be sure to share it. That helps, because the more people who play the Division, who actually enjoy it, see it, and they're vocal about some of the ideas, the more that the developers will kind of, I guess, get behind it and show it some support, and maybe even decide to put it in the pipeline. So just, make your opinions known, make your thoughts count, and share that stuff either on Twitter or wherever it is, Facebook or whatever group. Maybe you're in a group for the Division and you guys talk about things. And if there's an idea that you think people would like, share it, and then hopefully they'll see things and they can try to put it into the hands of the people who are in charge, and maybe we can get some of these ideas put into the game. All right, so with all of that being said, why don't we get into the topic of this Let's Talk, which I want to talk about is quest lines. It seems that, the Division has really fallen short in one very major PvE aspect, and that is quest lines. There used to be, some of the Isaac quest lines where you would do a few things and you might get some cosmetic clothes and things like that. And that stuff has kind of dried up and stopped. And I'm really wondering, why is it that stopped? Because that was probably the number one thing that brought me back to the Division week after week, when things got a bit dry and stale. To play, because I liked collecting, the clothes and stuff. And I know that in 1.7 they're going to have stat trackers of, the things you've done, and now you'll have these new things to kind of, keep you a little bit more motivated and incentivized to do certain things and get certain objectives out of the way. And I'm not against that. I think that's a really great idea. But what I would really, really like to see, and I really need to hear from you guys about this one, is deeper, more involved quest lines that came up with some kind of significant or special reward. Now, the first idea that I have for quest lines, that I think really a lot of people could maybe get behind, is reworking the way that HVTs and all of that stuff work, to get something special and involving them and the open world map a little bit better, and having a little bit more intricacies, to make it a bit more fun and give the PvE players something to do. And I think that, I'm going to be 100% real about it. I think it would be a bit cost effective for the developers to maybe just have some audio cues and dialogue maybe go over the radio, and then that could, flush out the story a little bit better. Wouldn't really cost a lot in terms of animation and stuff like that, which is, it always costs money, but putting things like that into the game, I think could really flush things out and keep the story going and keep people more intrigued with the lore, and really involve people more into these quests that could give you greater rewards, or even, rewards that people would actually like to have. So one thing that I thought about when it came down to the quest line that I would like to see as something, just a starter, and I'd like to hear what you guys think about this for these quest lines, is a weekly. The weeklies as they are pretty much suck. Let's just be 100% honest with it. They're not very good. Go and get 100 weapon part, or I'm sorry, that's even too much. Go and get 30 weapon parts, kill 20 cleaners in the dark zone, do 10 missions in the week. Like, that's really boring. Nobody really wants to do any of that stuff. So what I recommend, or what I suggest, is that we have something like these weekly quest lines, and they revolve more around HVT missions and the actual missions that are already in the game. So from a programming standpoint, it really wouldn't, involve new assets and stuff like that. It's something that I think they could do. And I'm trying to come up with ideas of things that they could actually do, so that we can actually have a stand a fighting chance of getting this stuff in the game. So figuring out how these quests would be set up, you could have them be part of a very large quest line, or you could have weekly quests, and weekly quests could have some requirements for you to do certain missions to start them off, or if you get a kind of a broadcast over the radio that's saying, hey agent, we've got something going on in this district, go over to such and such safe house and talk to the JTF agent and he'll give you more details. So it could be something completely optional. It could be something completely random, and it could happen at a random point in time. So maybe you don't necessarily know when it's going to trigger, but similar to how the supply drops are. And then you would go in and do these special missions and quests, and they would lead you, kind of down the rabbit hole to getting something really cool. And I think that's a really important thing to make sure that we state, is that these rewards have to be really cool, and they have to be something extremely special. I think there maybe, if there were a kind of set type of weapons, that maybe they could be rogue agent weapons, and they're kind of kitted to be a little bit better at certain things. So like, I hate to kind of bring this up, but in Destiny they had the PvP centric weapons in Trials of Osiris, and if you know about Destiny, then that makes a lot of sense to you. But if you haven't, it's basically like this kind of exclusive PvP mode where, if you cleared it with a perfect run, you got access to these really good PvP weapons that were really good for PvP. So what I'm saying is, maybe you could have something like that, and it could be for PvE. So you have these weapons that are really, really good for PvE content, and in these long quest lines, they just grant you this really good stuff. Or you could have it so that in these shorter quests, or maybe even these weekly quests, you have access maybe once per week with one character, or one of your characters, and then you get like this amazing weapon that is very, very good for PvE. Maybe if you had an assault rifle, it did over the usual maximum amount of enemy armor damage, or you guys could go crazy with what it could have on it, but just something that was very exclusive, kind of once a week type thing that made it special. And make sure that it's very involved, and it comes really either at a set time, or that it comes at random, so that you're extremely hype once it does show up. Now, when I'm talking about these weekly quest lines, I'm talking about like, how you have to do the 10 missions to get the weekly. So we get rid of that. We kill that. But they'll have you do like X number of HVTs. So maybe you have to do 2 HVTs to kick things off, right? So you do 2 HVTs, and then after you do the 2 HVTs, you get like this kind of chatter over the radio, and then somebody says, we're hearing about these rogue agents in X district, so maybe in Hell's Kitchen, and they're doing, this kind of stuff, and they're stealing division tech, and then they're using this, whatever. I don't know what the story is. You guys can make it up as you go along. But, they're doing some bad stuff in this area, and we need you to go and check it out. So you have to go into that area. You go to the board in one of the safe houses, and then you do some of the little missions to get some intel. So then you go and you do those little missions. You clear out a couple guys. You know, kill some named enemies. You start doing all of this stuff, and you're drumming up all of this heat, right? And you're building up this heat, and you're getting the rogues nervous. And then, you know, you hear about, you know, maybe from one of the JTF agents after the ends, like, yeah, you know, there's been, you know, this disruption and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, this named boss is kind of in charge of things around here. Maybe if you took him out, you could, you know, get some more intel. So then you go back to the base, you find that boss, and that becomes a special option that is unlocked. It wasn't on the board before for the list of weekly HVTs, but it has like a little star next to it, an asterisk. And then you sign up to do that mission because, you know, you just got some intel points. So you go and you do that intel mission, and then you go and you take on that boss. So after you take on that boss, then you kill him, and then, you know, you find out that there's, you know, where one of the rogue agents is, and, you know, it's just a kind of part on the map that you go and inspect, and it's like, okay, agent, we've got this intel, and now you can go to this district, and there have been sightings of the rogue. And all of this would be kind of randomly generated so that, you know, not every place is exactly the same, so that it's not super redundant. So then you go over to that area, and then you basically fight that rogue agent. And then depending on the size of your group, you get a chance to fight more. So if it's just you solo, you can kill that agent, and then, you know, he'll say, okay, you know, my boys are gonna get you, or whatever, I don't know. And then you go to another area and you fight one agent, another one of his rogue agent buddies, and then maybe with like some LMB or something. Maybe they're shacked up with some group, and you know, you got like a named boss, a bunch of like trash mobs, and then you've got like this badass guy who's kind of calling the shots. He's got, you know, really good gear and all this other stuff. And if you manage to take all of those dudes out, then you get something really nice. Now, let's say you've got a group of 4. So instead of having one agent and then the named boss and all that other stuff, you basically have 3 or 4 named agents with really good AI, and they're moving really well. You've got, you know, the named NPC. You've got like all of these trash mobs and stuff, and it's just a really fucking hellish firefight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're using your skills to the best of your abilities. You're healing your boys. You got your med box. You got your flame turret for crowd control. You got your friend in the back sniping. You got your other buddy covering people with the shotty, you know, running up, bang, bang, bang. You know, it's exciting. It's something fun, and it feels good, and it's more of like this really good use of the map. And I think that's where the Division is kind of falling apart, is that you have this beautiful map with all of this area to use, and it's just being underutilized. And when you have things like that, where you have to go from place to place and do things like this and that without fast traveling, and that's kind of one of the things that I really would like to hammer home, is that a lot of this stuff needs to happen in a very close proximity, because for me, and this is me personally speaking, whenever I have to fast travel to go somewhere, it really takes me out of the moment, you know. But it would be cool, like, you know, imagine if there were, like, let's say you killed that named NPC who was going to give up the rogue agent, and you see the rogue agent run by, right? And you have to chase him. Like, you know, the old fashioned car chase. Like, it could be something where you have to follow this guy and chase him, and then, you know, maybe put bleed on him and slow him down and shoot him. He takes cover. And, you know, even if you don't have to kill him in that first instance, he's basically drawing you back to his home base with that named NPC, a bunch of his boys, and, you know, the other guys. And if you don't kill him in time, then you have to fight all 4 of the rogue agents, plus the NPCs, plus the trash mobs. And I've just got so many of these ideas that I would love to see in the game. And I think a lot of you who subscribed to my channel a long time ago know that I'm very passionate about games in general. Not only the Division, but I just love video games. I've got tons of ideas, and I've got more ideas to come. If you enjoyed this video, and if you think you'd like to see something like that, leave a comment in the comment section, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm putting out my heart here, and I'm just saying what I feel, and I hope you guys feel the same way too. I'm gonna try and calm down because I'm getting a little too excited and a little bit disappointed because I know that once I turn the game on, none of that stuff is gonna be in there. So yeah. All right, guys. So that is it for this episode of Let's Talk. Let me know what you guys think. And before we go, I wanted to give a special shout out to Benjamin, to Adrian, to Cracker Jacks, and to No Love for all of the epic donations that you guys gave over the weekend, during the live streams, and even yesterday's stream. Thank you guys very much for the support. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome people, and I really do appreciate it. And on that note, I just want to say thank you to anyone who's watched my videos, liked my videos, commented, or whatever, shared or anything. You guys really help the channel, and you help keep me motivated to keep making more content. So until the next one, I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm gone. Peace. Have a great day.